Today I'm bringing you my top 24 players that you should be drafting in the first 2 rounds of your either redraft leagues or best ball leagues. I want you to comment down below a player that deserves to go in the top 24 players coming into the 2023 season. And as always, go to flockfantasy.com/land, the best place to support what Zach and I are doing here. You get our rankings, articles, and bonus content, and so much more. You can get the fantasy hotline, you can get your teams graded. I mean, there's so much more coming. You can join a redraft league. Look, once again, flockfantasy.com/land, the best place to support what we're doing here. Get 30% off at sign up. And let's get straight into the video. Okay, so let's get straight into it. My top 24 players that you should be drafting from rounds 1 all the way to the end of round 2. As you can see here, I have 6 different tiers from the 101 all the way down to the 212. And let's get straight into it. We're gonna go start from the top here. I think that just makes more sense in my mind, at least. Let me know what you guys think if you like this format. So obviously 101, Justin Jefferson. There's no doubt about it. Let's not overthink it. Wide receiver 1 this past year is going to continue. Had a phenomenal year, over 184 targets. That is going to continue. And then we have Christian McCaffrey here as the 102. Finished as the RB2 this past year. This team only gets better. This offense should get better. No matter who the quarterback is, I think CMC's upside is fine the way it is. Then my next guy here is Cooper Kupp. My wide receiver 2 coming into this year. I think it can go either way with the next person I'm going to be bringing here. But look, when Cooper Kupp is healthy and Matthew Stafford is healthy, and there's no doubt in my mind, this offense and Cooper Kupp is a top 2, top 3 wide receiver. I think that's going to continue once again coming into the 2023 season. And they didn't really bring in anyone, to take targets away from Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I love Puka Nacua, but he's a rookie and he was, drafted in the later rounds. I think Cooper Kupp is fine. Then we go to Tyreek Hill, my wide receiver 3 here. Once again, another guy finished as the wide receiver 2 this past year. I think he could have been in contention to finish as the RB1 or wide receiver 1, excuse me, if Tua tags didn't miss all that time, really 4 games, and then kind of had a little up and down season. I think Tyreek Hill easily my wide receiver 3, but I think Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill are interchangeable. You can put these guys however way you want them to. I'm really happy. And once again, whichever way you would like. Then you go to the mid first here, my 105. That is Jamar Chase. Look, obviously missed some games this past year, finished as a wide receiver 11. He's going to come back, be even stronger, be even better. Over 130 attempts, over 1,000 yards in the air. I think he only gets better coming into this season with obviously Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Now we go at the 106, and I think this is where the positional advantage really kicks in when you think of the tight end. That is Travis Kelce. I can't really see me taking anyone else here at the 106 if Travis Kelce is on the board. I mean, if we think of Travis Kelce, the tight end one the past couple years, that's going to continue with one of the best quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't look like any regression is coming in. They don't really bring anyone to take away, targets from Travis Kelce. Everyone is talking about, Kadarius Toney. My guy already got hurt of day 1 of practice. Sky Moore, yeah, maybe eating into his work a little, but I don't think that takes away the positional advantage that you can have with Travis Kelce here at the 106. Then you go to my RB2, Austin Ekeler. Look, finishes the RB1 this past year. A crazy year of 127 targets in the air. Obviously, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams did miss a significant amount of time. Honestly, I think that can still happen, right? And I think that's why I'm so excited about Quentin Johnson this year. But Austin Ekeler, obviously with that contract shakiness, he could have walked, could have not. I think they're going to just run him to the ground and get as much as possible out of Austin Ekeler coming into this year. And then my 108, CeeDee Lamb, or technically, what's this, 5, 6, 7? Yeah, my 108, CeeDee Lamb. Look, a lot of disrespect for CeeDee Lamb. A lot of people were questioning him if he was even going to be a top 5 guy. He finished as the wide receiver 5 this past year, over 156 targets in the air. And once again, didn't really bring in too much competition. Yes, you have Brandon Cooks. You get rid of Zeke, Tony Pollard taking the step up. Also, CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver 1 on this team, has the best chemistry with Dak Prescott, and easily can be in contention to be a top 5 wide receiver coming into the 2023 season. Now, I think this is where things get a little bit shaky in my rankings. I think this is where a lot of people would go and pivot two different directions. But for me right here, right now, this is where I think the positional advantage is significant, in my opinion. Derrick Henry, the RB, my RB3 in my rankings. And look, finished as the RB4 this past year, over 115 yards, over 340 attempts on the ground. I think this continues. A lot of people say DeAndre Hopkins is going to hinder Derrick Henry, or Derrick Henry is going to fall off the train. We've been saying that for so long for so many people. We've been saying that for Nick Chubb. We said that last year for Derrick Henry. That's why he was going later in drafts. We said that the year before for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is going to get the workload, and I would rather be on the train. In a redraft perspective, personally, I would rather say, you know what, I'm going with the highest upside, the guy that I personally believe can finish as an RB1, be a top 3 guy. That is Derrick Henry right here. In my opinion, DeAndre Hopkins helps. You have Treylon Burks. This offensive line with Peter Skoronski does kind of even out the way it was last year. Obviously, Taylor Lewan is no longer on this offense. I think Derrick Henry can easily have another top 3 running back, top 4 running back finish coming into the 2023 season. Then clearly we have, going to the wide receiver position, Stephon Diggs here, wide receiver 4 this past year. That's going to continue. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Once again, they didn't really bring anyone to have competition. Yeah, you have Dalton Kincaid, but historically with rookie tight ends, yes, as much as I love Dalton Kincaid to break out this year, it's kind of hard going against the grain, so that's a little bit tough. A.J. Brown as my 111 coming into this year. Once again, another guy had a phenomenal year, top 6 wide receiver, over 145 targets this past year in the air, and Jalen Hurts just got a contract extension, a phenomenal quarterback for him to pair up with. I'm really happy with that. And then that's my 112, my last running back now that I have. Before I used to say, I truly believe there should be only 3 running backs going in the first round. Now there's 4, in my opinion, and maybe this is a little bit of a homer pick, but that is Saquon Barkley. If you know me, I am a Giants fan. Saquon Barkley this past year finished as the RB5. Yes, they bring in Darren Waller, but now they're not stacking the box anymore. Yeah, Darren Waller is only one player, but if we get these wide receivers healthy, Saquon Barkley can eat a little bit more in different areas. Maybe the box is a little bit open. Maybe the attempts on the ground is better. Maybe, you know, him punching it in the end zone, you know, one or two extra more touchdown. That's going to continue. He's going to get a lot more work in the air coming into this year, in my opinion. Well, not a lot more work in the air, excuse me. A lot more work on the ground coming to this year. Because, I mean, if we really look at it, right, Saquon Barkley, 295 attempts, right? But if you look at the air, caught 57 out of 76 targets. I think those targets go down because of Waller, and then the attempts go up, and we can see him going into the 320s plus coming into the 2023 season. Yes, there's a lot of question marks if he is going to sit out. Honestly, we're just going to have to ride it out. If he does sit out, you probably shouldn't take him this high, obviously. But right now, what we do know, since it's early coming into training camp and everything, I think he should be okay. Obviously, things can change, so keep that in mind and, you know, keep your ear out for sure. All right, going to my second round here, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, no doubt, coming into this year. Aaron Rodgers is going to be stepping up. Garrett Wilson clearly had an up and down season in his rookie season with quarterbacks, Zach Wilson struggled. Joe Flacco came in, struggled. Garrett Wilson coming in with the 2-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion. And Aaron Rodgers, he is fun. I think he is deserving to be a top wide receiver here. Wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My wide receiver 8 clearly. I just don't have the numbers up. It's a little bit difficult. Wide receiver 8 coming into this year. My wide receiver 9, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Once again, another phenomenal season for Amon-Ra. Wide receiver 7. This team only gets better. Another year with Jared Goff. And now there's a lot more eyes to take away, right? DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, both gone. But you have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, arguably a massive step up in the running back room. You have J-Mo coming in, obviously 6-game suspension, but also Sam Laporta coming in. You can't sleep on him. Amon-Ra is going to be getting the work, no doubt, in the air. And hey, we could be seeing a lot more opportunity for Amon-Ra. And Amon-Ra did miss some time this past year. So keep that in mind. Now we go to Jalen Waddle, my wide receiver 10 here, or wide receiver 11, excuse me. Once again, Tua tags, an offense that I truly believe can break out here. I believe in Tua, had a phenomenal season this past year, and Jalen Waddle is going to continue to produce when you think of, this offense. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver 8 this past year, over 117 attempts. He really saw the dip when Tua missed time, right? And I think that is the biggest kicker here, because when Tua missed time, we saw, not Mike White, but we saw all these other, Skylar Thompson really target Tyreek Hill, just taking chances. At one point I felt like they didn't even have a quarterback. They were just running the ball. And that's exactly what we saw. And we saw the dip in Jalen Waddle coming into this past year in the second half of the season when Tua was gone. But I think he'll be fine if Tua can play the full season. My 204, a running back I truly believe is getting disrespected. And they're saying, in my opinion, if you look at underdog rankings, you look at the ADP on Sleeper, apparently he's going as the RB3. I truly don't believe that. He is my RB5 right here, and that is Nick Chubb. Another offense I really believe that's going to be taking out coming into this year, Deshaun Watson, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is no longer on this team. As much as I love Jerome Ford, and I really hope that he kind of has a breakout season to help him out, Nick Chubb is going to be seeing a lot of attempts on the ground, a lot of goal line opportunity with this offense getting significantly better with Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, coming back to form. I think Nick Chubb can easily be a top 5 running back coming into the 2023 season. So I'll take him here at the 204. Now the 205, Chris Olave, better quarterback, better pizza, Papa John's with Derek Carr. I don't know why that just came to mind. Chris Olave is going to be going here at the 205. Derek Carr, right? Yeah, Michael Thomas, if he does come back, that's great. But if not, Chris Olave is easily going to be the target leader here on this offense. Derek Carr knows how to easily hone in on a person, just like we saw this past year with Devontae Adams, just like we saw with Hunter Renfrow, just like we saw with Darren Waller. And really the only weapons on this team in the wide receiver room is Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. And if Michael Thomas is not healthy, which I truly am struggling to see, Chris Olave is easily getting all those opportunities in the air. Josh Jacobs coming in as my next player here, my RB6 easily. I mean, we see him had a phenomenal year this past year. RB3, led the league in attempts. I think he takes a little bit of regression. Jimmy G's here. He just got cleared for practice, saying that he's going to be all right for the first half for the preseason, which is fine, and for training camp. But I think there's a little bit of regression. I don't think he may be getting a lot of that many attempts. I think this offense doesn't get as good, in my opinion, or is not as good as they were last year. I think Jimmy G struggles in this new offense with Devontae Adams' offensive line, nowhere near as good as the offensive line as the San Francisco 49ers. So I think that's where Jimmy G was going to struggle with the time that he has had in the past with his offensive line. So Josh Jacobs, regression in the offense, which means regression for Josh Jacobs for me. Tony Pollard, my next guy. Passing opportunity, the PPR guy that I think he's going to be stepping into. RB8 this past year, 55 targets in the air. That increases, in my personal opinion. I think he can hit 70 targets, right? A lot more opportunities on the ground, and he even get the true workload until the second half of the season. Imagine that with a full season. Once again, the RB8. He was a league winner this past year. I think he is worthy of being in the second round. And then we have my first rookie coming in. That is Bijan Robinson. Cool little fact that I found, which I think we really need to keep account. Historically, running backs that have been drafted in the top 12 in the NFL draft has finished in the top 11 of their rookie season that year. I think Bijan Robinson can easily be a top 8 type of quarterback coming into this season. I feel like I'm a little bit lower than the community consensus. I think a lot of the community does have him as a top 5 running back coming into this year. I just honestly can't put him in front of Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. I think if there is somebody I believe he can easily jump which is crazy because I do have Josh Jacobs ahead right now of Tony Pollard. I think it's Josh Jacobs because of the offense. I think Tony Pollard takes the bigger step, and maybe as I'm doing this video, I need to do something like this, right? Tony Pollard, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs. That makes Josh Jacobs my RB9, if I'm not mistaken, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, RB8. So my RB8. I'm gonna make him my RB8 or RB7. He was my RB6 at the time, right as I'm recording this. But I feel a lot more comfortable if I do this. You guys let me know what you think, where you would have him. But Bijan Robinson, a dual threat guy, going to the Atlanta Falcons with this offense that I truly believe is going to continue to run the ball, ran the ball the most in the National Football League, top 3 this past year. I think that can easily continue, especially with Bijan Robinson, not only on the ground but also in the air. I think there is some opportunity there for Bijan, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm throwing a little bit extra in here for you. I think you can really have an opportunity with Mark Andrews here if he is there, right? A positional advantage again, like, right, we think of these running backs that are probably still available right now, but Mark Andrews is there. I would rather have Mark Andrews than some of these running backs potentially if he does fall to this position. So I'm kind of giving you my top 25, 26, 27-ish players. Now at the 209, Devonta Smith, one of my, honestly, I wish I was more bullish on him. I wish I wasn't scared of the community. There was a point in time I was saying Devonta Smith can easily break out, and I was a little bit more conservative. I was saying, you know, I was a believer in Jalen Hurts. I did believe Devonta Smith can easily finish as a top 22 wide receiver. He finished as the top 10 wide receiver 9 this past year. I wish I was more bullish on him. I think Devonta Smith is a phenomenal value here at the 2.9 coming into this round. Now we have Jonathan Taylor, another controversial take. I just bought him on our Dynasty channel saying, I think you should be selling him high. I have a lot of concerns with JT right now with this offense and Anthony Richardson. I think we're going to see a lot of regression in opportunities for JT, specifically in the goal line, specifically in the backfield. Anthony Richardson, one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. A different offense. Yes, Shane Steichen's here, but Anthony Richardson is a mobile quarterback that I truly believe can take opportunity away from Jonathan Taylor, once again, on the ground and goal line opportunities. The talent is there. I think another player that I am truly off consensus with right now, and I want to hear your conversations. I want to know what you think about JT coming into the 2023 season. I mean, this is a controversial takes already. JT, now Davante Adams, my wide receiver 13. I'm a little bit skeptical on Davante Adams, kind of talking the same thing about Jimmy G. A lot of struggle, a lot of time in the pocket that he is going to be struggling with. And Davante Adams, as much as I know a lot of the conversations with me saying the deep balls aren't there with Derek Carr. I think it was over, I don't remember the top of my head, but it was probably, it was 29% or it was 29 or 33. I don't know why those two numbers are coming up in my head, but 29 or 33% of his yardage came from deep ball passes from Derek Carr, 20 plus yards or more. Jimmy G is not a deep ball passer, and I think that's my concern about a lot of the arguments saying that, well, he does get his work in the short yardage as well, which I completely agree. But once again, I'm just expecting regression here. Davante Adams, he had more chemistry with Derek Carr. I think there's going to be a lot of question marks with Jimmy G with this offensive line and this offense as a whole. Then we have Ramondre Stevenson coming in here, another phenomenal value coming in. I do believe he could be a late second round type of pick. You know, sometimes you can go quarterback here just to actually throw that out. In a redraft perspective, we love to draft quarterbacks late. So if you're not seeing any quarterbacks here, is because I think you can truly get them at a later value most of the time. You know, you can get a Daniel Jones, an Aaron Rodgers, a Justin Fields later in the rounds. You can get whoever you can, a Russell Wilson, a Jared Goff, a Geno Smith later rounds in your redraft leagues. We love to play this late round quarterback strategy in our redraft league. So yes, Ramondre Stevenson, my RB 10 right now coming into this year. Ramondre Stevenson finishes the RB7. A lot of concerns about Dalvin Cook could be coming to this team, but with all the rumors coming out about Dalvin Cook, I feel like he may not even be on a team, which is really good for someone like Ramondre Stevenson, that a lot of the the league sources were saying that he could be going to the Patriots. So, excuse me, Ramondre Stevenson going here at the 212, and I'll give you a nice little another person I would have here in this round as well that does hold some value, and I believe it's an honorable mention, I guess you can say, and that's Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne this past year, RB17. We really didn't see him get the true workload, I would say, until about week 4, when James Robinson kind of fell off. Then we saw that workload. I'm a little bit skeptical about Travis Etienne as well right now. I don't think Tank Bigsby is going to take all the workload. I'm not a Tank Bigsby 50% workload type of believer. I'm more of I see him in the 30% workload. I see him taking more of the short yardage, maybe like a 3rd and 1, and even goal line yardage where Travis Etienne doesn't get it. Travis Etienne does get the majority of the pass catching opportunities, in my opinion, but I won't be surprised if Tank Bigsby can take that opportunity away from him as well, since we do know he was a decent pass catching back at college as well. So once again, guys, these are my rankings. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested. I know a lot of controversial. I think a couple key things to remember that I'm not with consensus is, honestly, I would say Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams are my 2 big guys that I'm not with consensus, that I think a lot of people are going to bring uproar when this video releases. But once again, let's have a conversation. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And as always, it's all love.
Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.